on, rolling, background music, all that kind of stuff. Let me put my glasses on because I'll need them. It's like I am officially an old man. No, I am. I was, John, you don't have a microphone, so you're kind of stuck. I've got my friend Rob Malcolm in the studio here.
What's up? What's up?
Oh, there you are.
Hey, let's go.
Okay, so do sound check. Can you hear him? Is it actually coming through loud enough? A lot of people, when they come in here, they don't project on the mic. You're not going to have that problem because you're the guy that probably doesn't need a mic that could just...
talking this way, too.
Yeah, and he still got you.
Okay, all right.
But these are, like, you got to speak into the mic.
Like, speak into the mic.
It just doesn't get you.
Okay.
Hey, so the name of this one is going to be The End is Not the Beginning, and the Beginning is Not the End. This is episode number 25. John, you're going to fact check it, right? It is number 25. So my friend Rob, he is the co-owner of EXIT Realty Birmingham. By co-owner, I mean, you got what, 49%?
I'm 49%, yeah.
Okay,
and I get reminded of that
by your wife,
by my
Shannon,
wife, yeah, daily.
Who has, but I mean, I would think I would want Shannon to be the 51% because isn't she like top producer?
Oh, she's everything.
Like she's all the, I mean, she gets all the awards. We don't have time to list them all, but I mean, she really does.
Oh yeah,
so
100%. She's the person of the business. I'm just there to help.
Yeah, well, and I mean, well, the there to help would be debatable. I think if she was in the room, because she'd go like, sometimes your help would be to get out of the office and go do the other thing that you do, which is flipping houses.
Right.
So you've flipped 300 plus houses over the last decade and been part of like what, 1,200 plus successful real estate transactions?
This past weekend, a little over 1,200 successful real estate transactions.
You lost money on 2.
Why'd you even bring that up?
Well, it's...
I was having a good week.
I mean, actually, that's pretty impressive because
yeah,
losing on 2 out of 1,200,
it's so crazy though. Like, I'm a winner, you know what I mean? And when we talk about the losses, I mean, they haunt me. Like, I can tell you details of those 2, and they were years ago.
Man, lost on only 2. Okay, and then you're also the founder, creator of the Rise Up Renovation community, the course. I'm going to put links down to that in the show notes where you teach other people how to build their own wealth through real estate.
Oh, yeah.
So that whether they want to make $1 million jillion or they just want some time freedom.
I mean, $1 million jillion sounds cool.
Yeah, I've never had $1 million jillion, but I would go for that. If, you know, so you're listening along right now while maybe you're riding your bike or you're walking, you're exercising, you're doing the dishes, you're drifting off to sleep, you're in the carpool, whatever it is. Let me give you the other side of this. Rob is a good friend of mine, so it's not just the credentials and all of that. And by good friend, I mean not like Facebook friend. I mean there's probably not a lot of dirt on Rob that I don't know, and vice versa. So that's when you know you've got somebody in your corner, is they know the highlight reel, they know the low light. That wouldn't really be a reel. It would be like, mine's more like a documentary, like an extended multi-series, multi-season.
I mean, that's a good point though. Like, you know someone when you know the highlight reel and you know the dirt.
You know both. You got to know. Yeah, and that's when you know somebody's in your corner. And so, he's a guy that I've leaned into for some advice. Let me give you a bit of advice that he gave me, and that will kind of launch us into some stuff. Because this one, I mean, Rob's been successful, but he's also raw and been radically unsuccessful.
Yeah.
So we're gonna get to that in a minute, and we'll tell you why. Back on episode 13, I talked about doing this legacy project with my dad, where he wanted to platform some of his ideas, communicate how to lead a healthy church, and wanted to do that with churches here stateside, churches around the world. I think that book that he cranked out 20 plus years ago that we've rewritten this year, actually rewrote now it's 2026. We rewrote this in 2025, and we're launching it and rolling out in 2026. It's been translated into 3 languages. It's going into a 4th and a 5th. When I was looking for advice on, man, if I pivot and go do some work with my dad, like that's going to mean cutting off some other things that I'm in the middle of doing. Rob was one of the guys that said, man, hands down, if you can go back and work with your dad, and do some things. Because your dad, he is an incredible guy.
Yeah,
I knew him, and he passed several years ago.
Yeah.
And, you said, no, I'd go back and work with my dad. Like,
100%. I'd drop some of the stuff that I think is so important just to go do stuff with my dad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So we're going to talk a little bit about your dad in a second, even though the podcast episode is not about fathers. I met you after your dad drug you to a power lunch.
Yeah.
That should cue it in right there. That's going to be late 90s, early 2000s language for church business leaders opportunity once a month.
Power lunch at First Baptist Church, whatever the Baptist church was that he was going to.
No, this was Shades Mountain Baptist.
Right.
Okay,
Yeah.
so Danny
Okay.
Wood, an incredible guy, was the pastor at the time. And so your dad drags you to power lunch. What were you thinking when your dad drags you to power lunch?
Okay, so first of all, you have to picture this, right? I was like 105 pounds. I had big black sags under my eyes, and my nose was pretty flat on my face, and it was due to all the drugs that I'd recently been doing. Okay, Dad was trying to help me.
You were clean when you went to power lunch, though.
I was coming off of being, I was clean, but not squeaky clean. Let's say that, okay?
Clean, but not.
I was not squeaky clean. Like, during that time, I had already gone and accepted like a year chip, and my wife was like, what are you doing? I was like, I haven't drank.
Well, y'all weren't married at the time.
Yeah.
So you
I was
took
like,
a
well,
year.
I haven't drank in 12 months. And she's like, yeah, but you're doing cocaine.
It's
Like, you
clean
don't get
time.
it.
It's clean time.
Yeah, I'm sober for 12 years. And she's like, that's not how that works, right? So that was kind of in that time frame right there.
We're
right?
trying to figure out what's really clean.
I was trying. Let's say that. So Dad takes me to power lunch, right?
Because you're working with your dad at the time.
Yeah.
Okay.
He
So
had-
Dad drags you to power lunch.
Drags me to power lunch, and I'm like, what in the world are we doing? In the middle of the day, you want me to go hold hands and sing Kumbaya with a bunch of church guys? Like, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah. That's what. Yeah, that's the perspective. Because people listening right now, they think power lunch is going to be every caricature that you've just thought about church luncheons.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, like, too, the big thing, like, because we talk about, affirmations and stuff, like, the big negative thought that was going through my mind is, I'm not going to fit in this room. He's talking about power lunch. He's talking about these are businessmen. I'm not a businessman,
Right.
I'm wearing a T-shirt and work boots. I'm going in here with a bunch of businessmen. So I felt super uncomfortable going there, to be honest.
And you thought clean time was I didn't drink.
I thought
Cocaine slides you in, and these guys have never even heard of cocaine. Well,
that's right.
Coke is a soda, not Coke is not a drug. It's a.
So I was
You want
a
some
little
Coke, diet or regular?
resistant to go there,
Okay.
to be honest. But yeah, I mean, it was pretty cool. That was one of the one of the turning points, I guess you could say. Well, a big key day for me.
Yeah. All right. So power lunch. Let me describe it really quickly because I'd been to it several times. I might have been there in that room the same day that you were there.
We think you probably were. Yeah.
I probably was in that. I think Danny, once a month, he would read a book. It would be a business book, something like Good to Great, something like. Now, I don't think he ever did a Simon Sinek book just because they weren't out yet at that time, but he would read it, and then he would come in and give everybody what would basically be a 10, 12-minute overview of the book, ask some questions. Do you remember he always gave away spam?
Spam.
Like that was his
weird.
thing.
Yeah.
Spam shirts, spam hats, spam cans, all of that. But, I mean, it was like eat. It wasn't churchy at all. But it was an outreach of the church. And so people are really engaged. They bring their friends in. It's fun, done, get back to work.
And if I remember right, it was a slam-packed room. Like,
Oh, yeah. The whole
was a lot
fellowship
of people
hall
there.
was,
Yeah.
I mean, like it's a couple hundred people wall to wall. And this was a massive, this isn't like the little old school fellowship halls that, I mean, it's like this. The footprint of that room is like the size of a gym. I think realistically,
I
just
agree.
a low ceiling. And so you decide you're going to go. Your dad drags you up to meet the pastor.
Yep. He's like, hey, I want you to come meet this guy. Okay. Yeah. Drags me up is a very good picture of what was going on. I was ready to go.
Everybody else has got on Levi's Dockers and looks like they're going to the golf course, and you've been on construction.
Yeah. Right. I had paint and caulk on my pants. I mean, I really didn't fit in the room. I was accepted, but I didn't fit in.
Yeah. So you meet him, and then
he started to ask me a series of questions, and you know, the biggest thing that I was having trouble with at that time was I couldn't find a job. Like nobody would hire somebody that looked like, you know, they were coming out of a house shooting cocaine, right?
Yeah.
I looked that part,
Right.
and I was having a really hard time. And when he started asking me a series of questions about, and so that came up, and I'm like, I just can't find work. I'm working for my dad, and you know, like he doesn't really have a place. He's making a place for me, and that's when he told me to come down and meet you at the church on 24th Street.
Yeah, he was one of the guys. We were meeting in a warehouse at the time. He was one of the guys that had really helped us. His church sponsored all of those efforts we were doing financially, relationally, and of course he provided some mentoring and training, coaching, accountability, interaction. Yeah, I had him basically on speed dial. Something happened, I could reach out. He was incredibly gracious to me.
He talked you up and the people that worked around you and what y'all were doing, like enough to where it kind of excited me, you know, because I was clean enough to where I knew I wanted to help other people that were struggling with what I had been struggling with. I'm pretty sure at that time I was a brand new Christian guy. I had just accepted Christ through a whole nother story, but so I had this fire and I wanted to help people. And when he started describing what y'all were doing, I was like, that's for me. And so I told my dad, I was like, hey, I need to take off a day and go meet this Andrew cat downtown. I don't even know if you remember that part because you weren't even there.
Well, I'd probably left the room by then, but yeah, I mean, just for clarity, so people know, I was at a church as part of the leadership team there. I was the guy that was preaching most of the Sundays if you came in there, that met in a warehouse, a renovated warehouse downtown, and it was a lot of, for the most part, 20 and 30-somethings. There were a lot of people that drove in, but uniquely, over time, we started realizing there were a lot of people that were coming there that were trying to get clean of drugs, clean off alcohol, clean off of, prostitution.
Whatever it was.
I mean, it was like the Statue of Liberty. You give us your tired, your poor, your huddled masses, longing to be free. Like that's who was coming there. And at some point, we started a reentry program where we could help people. They could live in that facility and in other facilities that we had. We had 18 different addresses at one point where people would be court ordered to us. They could come to us on early release from the Department of Corrections. So we were in it helping people transition from the stuff you had overcome kind of on your own with your dad, and a lot of ricocheting around from one thing to the next. But they could make that transition. And so,
you know how those times when you hear something and you're like, that's for me. You know, it's very few times in your life, you know, like that is 100% for me. When Pastor Danny was describing what y'all were doing downtown, I was like, I got that feeling, like you have that feeling in your chest.
Yeah.
Like, I've got to be a part of that. And,
did he give you my number or something?
No. What he did was he gave me the address.
Okay.
And I went down there and I was like, hey, Dad, I'm going to take off work today. I'm going to go down. I'm going to meet this Andrew guy. And I think this is for me. I sat there, and I sat there.
Okay, you pulled up at the warehouse.
I just sat outside, and it was probably a Monday when y'all didn't come to work.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Nobody showed up. I smoked a whole pack of cigarettes out there, and then finally gave up and went home. I came back the next day and sat and sat and sat. And I believe it was your assistant pastor, Rodney.
He's a worship pastor. Yeah.
Rodney pulls up. And
this is on Tuesday.
And I mean,
because he's about to get ready. I mean, he was always super prepared.
What is going on? Because, you know, y'all had homeless people, y'all had drug addicts, all kinds of stuff on the sidewalk outside of your place anyway, right?
You just fit right in.
So here I am looking like that.
Yeah.
And I mean, I approached him fast.
He's probably there to gear up for worship.
Yeah. And I thought he was you.
Yeah.
And I'm like, hey, man, are you Andrew? No. And he's just pushing me off to the side a little bit because he's got stuff in his hands. He's got his books and he's got his stuff and he's got his backpack. And
probably
here
a box of music for the team.
Bam, 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 trying to get my foot in the door. And he says, let me put this stuff down. So he starts talking to me and I'm like, man, I'm supposed to meet Andrew. Can you give me his phone number? He wouldn't give me your phone number. And I was persistent because I had been up there all day the whole day before. I'd been there a half a day already, or what felt like a half day. And so I think he agreed to call you. And he was like, hey, there's a guy down here that wants to meet you or something. And you told him to give me your address, and I came up to your house.
Yeah, my office was at my house.
Yeah, you remember that?
Yeah, because I could not get a lot done at the facility because
of that.
Yeah,
that
I mean,
guy.
like that was constant. Like, yeah, it was.
I mean, when you're helping people,
yeah, and
people come.
Yeah, they come.
Just show up.
Yeah, so we'd be there at specific times.
I was reading in Mark about that. I mean, not that there was Jesus was there, but Jesus was there. You know what I mean? When you start doing Jesus work, people just show up. So I can imagine you couldn't get a lot done. People need help with their bills, with their addictions, with their girlfriends.
Or they got a friend that's in prison, or a cousin that's in jail, or
Yeah, so I come down there and met you. And funny thing, I tell this to a lot of people, you gave me a great job, and it didn't pay anything.
Yeah. No, we didn't have any money. It's like, if you want to volunteer, you can volunteer. I mean, but you did.
Yeah. I ended up, you kind of lined out what you needed me to do and gave me a place to stay, which was huge for me because I was sleeping on my dad's couch at the time. And I knew I was going to have food because there was a cook there that cooked for the men in the program, so I could eat with them. I just weighed it out. I was like, hey, man, this doesn't pay anything, but I got a place to sleep, and I got food, and I got a purpose. And, man, that's how we started out. I mean, I eventually got paid, but, yeah, that's how I started out.
Yeah, I think when we had a staff guy that rotated off, I think, like that was, hey, you can rotate on right now. I mean, but you were there, like, so it just made sense. I think the first time we might have talked about that, didn't I call you like late one night? Like it was 9 or 10. I was going to buy food or something. It was
right before you had hired me.
Okay,
and you'd said, hey, if something pops up, let's talk later, right? And I don't know, it had gone like 3 or 4 days, and I got a phone call, but it was late. It was really late, like midnight late.
I wasn't midnight. I wouldn't have been out that late.
Yeah, you were. You were going, because, I'll tell you why. Because I was like, what are you doing up so late? You go, what are you doing up so late? We were laughing about it. You said, I'm about to go grocery shopping for the men. And I go to Walmart late at night because it's easier to get in and out. It was late.
Okay. So I'll trust that.
Okay. Maybe it was donuts.
I know we got donuts because we got donuts for the next day for the church.
Wherever we were going, it was late. And I'll laugh because you were running some red lights. And I was like, what are you doing? I was riding with you, and you're like, nobody's out. Yeah, no, you don't remember that.
I don't remember running a red light. I'm not disagreeing with it. I just, Man, okay, so you came on board and then started working with us, and then over the next couple of years, I remember you were instrumental in helping even create job opportunities. The funny thing was you did not have a job when you came to us. Your dad was helping you, so you're doing legitimate work, but realizing that guys that come off drugs, guys that come to you out of prison, guys that come the long, hard way, many times don't have ID, and that means they can't go get employed. They need money to buy an ID, but they can't get an ID until they have money, and they can't have money until they have a job. It's almost like they're stuck in this vortex, and we had figured out that if we gave them some money, they could go get their ID, but we weren't going to just give them money. And so at some point, you even created a construction company and said, hey, man, we could start our own business. Yeah. We could hire guys. We know who they are. We could then let them purchase their ID. We could make money. And like you started that whole process where we didn't game the system. It was legal, but it created a roadmap for people to come from where you had been.
Yeah, and we were teaching people a skill that they didn't have.
Right.
A lot of these guys, man, that we were seeing come out of prison that we were helping had no skill. And they were young, and, it wasn't because they were dumb. It was because they came from a really low-income area, and there were no jobs, right?
Right.
I mean, so if we were able to – we looked at it like if we were able to teach people – like a skill, painting, maybe being an electrician's helper or whatever, pulling wire, that kind of stuff, that hopefully they could finish out their sentence, go home and get a job that paid a decent wage and maybe not go back to prison. I think a lot of these guys went to prison over dumb stuff, I mean, it wasn't like they were murderers. They were going to prison for dumb. They were going to prison because they were poor.
Yeah, I mean,
dumb decisions.
Yeah, you make a dumb decision because you're poor, and you're poor because you live in an area where, I mean, one day you actually straight up said to me, and I learned so much about the addiction culture and the kind of the jail mentality from you and some of the other guys that had been through that, because I had not. And one day I remember you said, "Hey, man," and this is not politically correct. This is just facts. Hey, you know what everybody's doing right now? It was like 3 o'clock in the afternoon. You know what everybody's doing right now out in West End and out in Inslee? I was like, I have no idea. You said nothing. Nothing. Everybody's just sitting there. They're doing nothing. There's nothing to do. And so when there's nothing to do, there's no job. There's no economic engine. That means people can't provide. At some point, they're going to do something to provide. They don't have purpose. At some point, they're going to get into something.
Yeah, I mean,
and then it's,
dude, I used to drive through that area, and because we worked a lot in that area, and I would just pray over the area and just like, bring jobs, bring stuff for these guys to do. Like, some of these guys don't. It's not like they have a car where they can drive over to somewhere and get a job, you know? Like,
it's hard to afford a car if you don't have a job to go get the job. Yeah, you're just stuck.
Everybody that's not doing something is doing it on purpose, you know? I mean, and you grow up in a family where this is just norm. It's norm. And so, I don't know, man. I used to pray for that area a lot.
Proverbs talks about the righteous poor in addition to the unrighteous poor. So there are unrighteous poor people who are stuck in a vortex going downhill based on stuff they've decided to do. Mm-hmm. That's a legit thing. There are also what Proverbs refer to as the unrighteous poor that, I mean, it's just the system hit them and they're just stuck. And if you give them a hand up, man, they'll take it and they'll leap and they'll grow. They'll do what you did.
Yeah.
And they'll transform.
Yeah. So we started teaching these guys a trade, and, you know, this isn't a pat on my back or your back, but like I would get phone calls for up to a year later after guys had gotten out of prison.
Yeah.
And we're talking about, do you remember what the recidivism rate is in Alabama? It was like way up there. It was
it's
80-something% if I remember.
It's bad.
Way, but, and these guys, one after another, were calling and saying, "Hey, I just want to let you know that I got a job and my son lives with me in an apartment."
Yeah.
Like, that was massive.
And I'm still free. Yeah,
that was massive. I'm not in prison.
Yeah.
Right. That was massive, man. That happened for a couple of years after I moved on to another job. I kept getting those phone calls. We had a pretty big impact on those men.
Yeah, it was a cool season of just radical action. And I think that's really what I wanted to kind of set up, because in the next episode we're going to talk more about some of what you're doing now. I think what I want to maybe land on, and then let's share some more stories, is when the Bible talks about if anyone's in Christ, he's a new creation. The old is gone, all things are new. It's in 2 Corinthians 5:17 if you want to look it up. The word that Paul uses there about new creation, he had two options, really two predominant words in that language he could use for new. One of them is neos. Now, you might remember that. Like, if you're Gen X, you might remember that from Neo in the Matrix.
Yeah.
Okay, neos means it's just same. It's a clean, updated version of what you had before. So you could think about it like this. You had an old pair of shoes, you've worn them out, the tread's gone, they're cracked a little bit, you know, the shoestrings are frayed. You go get a Neos pair of shoes, new pair. Yeah, it's like a clean slate. Mm-hmm. And if Paul said, if anyone's in Christ, they are a Neos, clean slate, updated creation, the old's gone, they're new, Neos, that would be a great message. But that's not what he says. He uses the different word, kainos. If anyone is in Christ, they are a kainos. Kainos does not mean just a cleaned up update. It means superior, upgraded quality. Here, this would be the correlation. If you wear out your pair of shoes and you decide, forget that. I'm not walking around anymore. I'm going to go get a jetpack. That would be Kanos.
Kanos.
Yeah, I'm tired of walking
Superior.
around. I'm just going to float around, and I'm just going to. That would be. And I know you go, well, that's not even fair. That's not a 1-to-1 correlation. That's the point.
Mm-hmm.
It's you might have this image. This is what's often attached to that verse, like when you see it on a coffee mug or a T-shirt or a bumper sticker. It would be a caterpillar or butterfly. There's no indication in the former that it would become the latter, and there's no indication in the latter that it ever was the former. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So that's what he's saying. I mean, like that's kind of what we see with you. Do you remember the time?
Kanos.
Yeah, Kanos.
Kanos.
Now you're gonna walk around with that voice. Kanos.
I'm gonna get that on my shirt.
It could be a shirt. You got all these. Rob has all these. You can't see it. He's got all these black T-shirts that have like words like committed, producer. What's the new one?
Relentless.
Go Giver.
Go
Is that
Giver is
the
our new
Go
one, yeah.
Giver? Kanos.
Kanos. Yeah. I'll have to
So
order some.
I mean, let's go back to your dad, because your dad, man, when you were on a bender and crashing out and all that kind of stuff, he went out and got you in Vegas one time. Tell me about Vegas, and let's get from Vegas to here.
Okay. So I was living in Reno, Nevada at the time.
Yeah.
And, excuse me, and my mother had early onset Alzheimer's disease. And my dad reached out to me and just was like, hey, is there any chance you can move back to Birmingham to help me take care of your mother? And I was going through a bad breakup with my love of my life. And I was like, yeah, it's a great time.
Great timing. Did he know what you were all into at that time?
No, because I mean, I hadn't probably seen him in a couple years,
Okay.
like physically.
Oh, yeah.
seen him.
He didn't know what you even looked like because of what we're about to say.
Yeah.
When you bumped into him at the,
That's right.
was it the craps table or the backgammon table
in-
or the?
Get this. Now, I just broke up with my love of my life, and my dad called and asked could I meet him. Like he wanted me, he would help me drive across the country. And he said, let's just meet in Vegas. I'll fly to Vegas. You drive a U-Haul down here, and we'll drive across the country.
Oh, because that would save a day or two of driving, and he needs to get back to your mom, who was
somewhere in between the time that I hung up the phone and I rented the U-Haul. I ran into this new girl that I fell madly in love with overnight, and talked her.
So this isn't the forever girl. This is a different girl.
Talked her into going to Birmingham, Alabama with me overnight.
Talk about Kanos, because we've just, I mean, everybody that listened to the beginning of this episode knows that, like, you married the top producer.
Yeah.
Who's fantastic.
So I had to tee this up a little bit. So we get in the U-Haul. I pack up my things and I drive to Vegas to meet my dad. Now, we arranged a place to meet. He was playing some cards, and I see him and I tap him on the shoulder. Well, at the time, I had like long braids in my hair, and I had different color rubber bands holding the braids in, and
almost looks like a dreadlock guy.
Yeah. White guy with dreadlocks. And I tapped him on the shoulder, and he didn't recognize me. He didn't even say anything. He just turned around and kept playing cards, and I was like, Dad.
That's funny.
So, yeah. So anyway, we eat dinner together, get caught up, and he's like, who's this? And I'm like, oh, this is Ronnie. She's coming with me. And he's like, no, she's not coming with you. That's not happening. And so we argued about it a little bit, and I conceded. And he said, hey, we're going to get her a plane ticket, fly her back to Reno. She can do whatever she wants to do. She's not driving across the country with us in the U-Haul. So Ronnie and I decide that after dinner, Dad's, gonna go. We're gonna have a long drive the next day. He goes up, goes to bed, gets ready for this long drive. Not me and Ronnie. we decide, hey, we're in Vegas. We're in Vegas. So we decide to go out and party. And somewhere along the way, I lose the keys to the U-Haul.
Did you go around partying in the U-Haul? Like you're driving the U-Haul from place to place down the strip?
Yeah, because we weren't going to the casinos. We were going to like all the seedy bars and stuff. You know
Okay.
what I mean? Like, we had already done casinos. Like, we lived in Reno. We knew what casinos were. We wanted to go see all the, like, dimly lit, hidden in the alley bars.
The stuff that's on, like, shady TV shows when you think of, I
mean, that's what we were hunting. And so we found them.
Found it. Nailed it.
I found them. Somewhere along the way, we lost the keys to the U-Haul. I don't really remember a lot, but I do remember my dad kicking me to wake me up in the hotel room. And he's like, let's go, blah, blah. He's all upset. And we couldn't wake Ronnie up. I mean, it was a scene from The Hangover, honestly. There was stuff everywhere. Like, it was terrible. So we finally get up going, we can't find the keys. We had to go rent. We had to go rent a second U-Haul and back it up to the first one and move all the stuff out of, all my stuff out of that U-Haul into the new U-Haul.
Okay, if I remember it correctly, you got downgraded when you did that.
Dude.
You had like a posh U-Haul to start
POS.
with, and you go down to whatever they got left.
Oh, dude, yes. We had, before we even got to the Hoover Dam, we had a flat tire. And then at some point, we overheated. I mean, it was a mess. The truck was a mess. I don't know where we were. We were in some mountains, coming down some mountains. We were on, and I woke up, and it's late at night, and the truck's rattling, just, sounds like it's about to fall apart. We're doing what feels like about 90 miles an hour. I'm like, what are you doing, to my dad? Like, I was so hungover, I had been sleeping the whole way. By the way, I was not helping at all. I was asleep, right? And so when I wake up, we're doing like 90 miles an hour. He's like, we're out of gas. I've got this thing in neutral, and we're coasting down this mountain. We're going to go as far as we can.
He's just going to get it as close to Birmingham as he can, even though he's out in near Vegas or the Hoover Dam.
Yeah. Now, can I tell this story real quick, man?
Yeah.
So we start seeing this light way out in the distance. And he's like, you need to put your seatbelt on, because, I mean, honestly, we're in this thing. We're hauling it's like a 17-foot long truck, and we're hauling a pickup truck behind it. And it's swerving, and we're doing way faster than we should have. But we can see this light way down at the bottom of the hill, and we're coasting. And we coasted right up to this really old gas station. And it had two pumps, and a light that was coming on and off, like
It's flickering.
Yeah, flickering.
Back to like a seedy bar type looking gas station.
Dude, like, I hadn't seen one of these. Like, my grandpa on my mother's side owned gas stations in Jackson, Mississippi when I was a little kid in the 70s. This looked like one of those. You know, it was a little bitty cinder block building.
Yeah.
Like, little bitty, probably 100 square feet on the inside, two pumps. Lights flickering. I'm like, hey, man, I got to go around the back. I got to go take a whiz. You pump. Right? Again, he's doing all the work.
He's doing everything.
He's doing all the work. So I go up to the door and pull on it, and it's locked. And there's nobody inside.
So y'all need gas, and it's closed.
Yeah, and it wasn't one of these. It wasn't, back then, it wasn't one where you put your cards in like people do now. You know what I mean?
Those didn't exist
No,
yet.
you had to have it turned on. The pump had to turn on, and the numbers would go
Yeah, it's like a rotary dial
okay,
of
that's
the
the
numbers.
kind of pump we were in front of. So I go around back.
You can hear it going.
Yeah. Go to the restroom, and I come back around, and I'm like, hey, what are we going to do? And he's like, we're going to go. And I'm like, no, what are we going to do? How are we going to get gas? This place is closed. And he's like, no, the attendant pumped the gas. I'm like, what attendant? So he goes to show me there's nobody in sight. There's nobody. Somebody, poof, shows up, pumps gas for us, takes his credit card, hands it back to him. There was nobody there, Andrew. There was nobody there. We encountered an angel.
Yeah.
There's just, that's the only way. There was nobody there. The place was locked. I was like, Dad, the door's locked. I'm pulling on it, showing him. I was like, where's the guy? Where's the attendant? He's like, we're full. He didn't even want to talk about it. Get in. And we just take off. We had long discussions about that for, many, many years after that. Like, the only way to describe that is there was an angel at the bottom of that hill that helped pump us gas. You know?
Yeah.
That's weird, right? Like, you'd think that angels are here to do other stuff, but...
Yeah, you think sure they're doing something more important, but if you look at it kind of strategically, in order for all the change to happen that was going to occur in you, like you had to get back to Birmingham.
I think also it was part of my story. Do you know what I mean? Because I came from a Christian background, but I didn't believe in God at the time. And so that was the first big thing, I get chill bumps saying this, that really started clicking in my head. There's something out there. There's something different.
Yep.
I didn't believe, right? And that was the first thing. And then after some of these other miraculous things that happened to me in my life, like, how can you deny it.
Right.
Right? I think he was putting some puzzle together.
Man, all right. So I've got to sign off because we're.
Oh man, I way overtold that story.
No, you didn't overtell it. I overtell stuff all the time. I try to hit like 30 minutes, 35 minutes, and then I look over at John and go, "What's the time?" He'll go, "You're like at 47." Go well. So no, you didn't overtell. Here's what I would say is if you want to read more, I put a link down in the show notes to Rob's book. The title is The Long Way, because the long way still gets you there. It's from a verse in Exodus where you read the children of Israel left slavery and they went towards the promised land, but when they left, they did not go the easy, short, direct route. They went the long way. And you might be listening somebody that took, or you are taking the long way. Okay, so no shame, the long way can still get you there. And along the long way, you see all of these stories of God's provision, like the gas, like, I didn't tell you, this is in the book, Rob living in a Mitsubishi Eclipse in the parking lot at Target on Highway 280.
Hey, thank goodness I'm only 5'5", right? It'd be hard to live in a Mitsubishi Eclipse if I was 6 feet tall.
Yeah, but Shannon, the top producer, was in the car with you at that point, wasn't she?
Right, yeah.
So you got two peoples in the car at that point. We didn't talk about grounding the C-130 on purpose. That's a huge military cargo craft. The book opens with you getting shot at the warehouse.
Yeah.
All of that. Let me sign off with this, because if you're in the middle of the struggle, and you see everybody else's highlight reel, I assure you that beyond the highlight reel, there's some lowlights.
Oh, 100%.
And there's probably a lot more low than high. However, the message of the gospel is still the same, that he makes all things new. That's just straight revelation. Meaning the book of Revelation, not just an insight or a pithy saying. Like, that's straight from the Bible. Red letter, by the way, meaning Jesus said it. And to remind you of Paul's words, if anyone's in Christ, Kanos. Like that superior, upgraded, that needs to be a shirt. So
is it with a K or a C?
I would do it with a K, but they have a different alphabet in the Greek language. You've seen fraternity people walking around like it's not. You've got to transliterate it. So the short prayer for you today is that the Lord would bless you, keep you, and that you would somehow see, sense, experience, and feel the Kanos.
Live a Kanos life.
Yeah.